Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen, and today we are going to be talking all about our personal savings and investing strategy. Last week in my July budget video, I asked you guys if you would be interested in me doing a video sharing more about our savings and investing strategy, and you said yes, so here we are. I just want to give you a quick disclaimer before we get started. I am not a financial professional. This is simply me sharing our personal financial savings and investing strategies. I am not offering this information as actual financial advice, so you can take from it what you will, and be sure to discuss any major decisions you'd like to make for yourself with your own financial advisor or tax professional. Now that that is all out of the way, if you've been around my channel before, then you know I believe in keeping everything about our finances as simple as possible, because I truly think that when things are overcomplicated, that leads to overwhelm and confusion, and I just don't think that serves you or your finances in any way. The first thing we're going to discuss is our retirement savings. Now, my husband has been at his job almost 20 years, and he has a pension. I know pensions aren't super common anymore, but he does have a pension at his job, and because of the way his pension is structured, it's kind of difficult to get a real, true valuation at any given time. His pension and the amount that he will collect in retirement is based on how much he earns in specific years during his employment. It's also based on the exact time he retires. So technically he's able to retire in 20 years, but he will get a lot less money when he collects his pension than he would if he would stay 10 more years. All that to say, it's basically impossible for me to tell you exactly what he has in his pension right now, and truth be told, I don't think he'd be comfortable with me sharing that number anyway. But what I am willing to share is the amount that we contribute to his pension. He has to put at minimum 5% of his pay, now that's gross pay in his paycheck, in his pension every single pay period. He's paid bi-weekly, so that means every 2 weeks he has to contribute a minimum of 5% of his own money. He is able to increase that 5% all the way up until 15% should he choose to do so. At this time, he contributes 7% of his pay into his pension every single paycheck, and then his employer matches the first 5%. So we are contributing 7% and his employer is contributing 5%. So that is a total of 12% every paycheck that he is contributing. Now, we did only raise that from 5 to 7, I think last year when we became debt-free, and our plan is to continue increasing that probably 2 to 3% every year as he gets a raise. That is all my husband does for retirement. I wanted him to open a Roth IRA, but he really would like to take any additional money that we invest for his retirement. He really would like to put that into his pension over a Roth IRA. Personally, I would like him to do both, but he feels really strongly about putting it to his pension, so that's what we're sticking with for the time being. Moving on to my retirement, I left my last full-time job in 2013, and I did have a 401k at that position that my financial advisor then rolled into a Roth IRA, or so I thought. I never touched that IRA until last year in 2019 when I started making monthly contributions. Those contributions continued for 7 months. At that time, my account was with American Funds. So for 7 consecutive months in 2019, I put $100 into that account. I decided that I wanted my IRA to actually be with Vanguard and be invested in Vanguard index funds. At that time, I stopped contributing to my IRA with the intention of switching it over to Vanguard right away. But as often happens, life got in the way and I kind of pushed it to the back burner, and I didn't contribute any more money, and I didn't switch my account until a couple months ago. I went to switch my account over to Vanguard, and I realized that in fact My Roth IRA was a traditional IRA instead. The way you earn and pay taxes in a traditional versus a Roth IRA are very different. So I wanted my money in a Roth IRA, so this really held up the process. I did go ahead and move the money over to Vanguard a couple months ago, but then I had to discuss with my accountant and try to figure out which account made more sense for me. Because when you switch a traditional IRA account over to a Roth IRA account, there is a significant tax liability, and I needed to make sure that liability didn't outweigh the benefits of switching the account to a Roth. I will go ahead and try to link an article for you down below that will give you a really good idea of the differences between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. That's not going to necessarily tell you everything, but it will get you started. One of the ways I learned what I needed to know was just by reading financial books. So I will go ahead and link some of my favorite personal finance books down below as well to help you get started if you're newer to the savings investing world and you're just not sure where to start. Back to my retirement, after talking to my accountant and my husband, we ended up deciding we were going to move forward with switching my traditional IRA to a Roth, and that switch was complete about 2 weeks ago, and today I went ahead and set back up the automatic monthly contributions. I am a huge believer in automating your savings. If you don't automate it and have it set up so the money transfers automatically without you even having to touch it, it is so easy to find other things that you need to do with that money, or find other ways that you want to spend that money. You're only allowed to contribute to your retirement account a certain amount of money each year for a certain amount of time. So if you miss out on the opportunity to contribute for that year, then you're kind of SOL. So I highly recommend you setting up your retirement savings on some sort of automatic schedule. And that's something you're going to have to decide for yourself based on your own savings goals, your own age, your own budget, your own income level, etc. For me, at this time, if you've seen my budget videos before, then you know we don't have a lot of extra money each month. So I went ahead and just set mine up to just send $100 to my Roth IRA in the beginning of the month, every single month. My hope is that I will be able to increase that slowly throughout the year, but it's okay to start small. It's okay to start even smaller than $100. If you don't have a lot extra, I really encourage you to get started saving anyway, because you're able to take advantage of compound interest. And compound interest is this magical financial feature that really helps you grow your money exponentially over time. And therefore, any time that you miss out on accruing compound interest is really a disservice to you and your future finances. Now that we covered all of the retirement accounts, the next savings account I want to talk about is our emergency fund. And I have done this entire video on emergency funds before. I'm going to link that for you down below. You can watch that when you're finished watching this video, and it's going to answer any questions you have about emergency funds. But for us personally, we have finished what we call phase 1 of our emergency fund, and we now have $15,000 sitting in an Ally online savings account. I highly recommend both Ally and Capital One for any long-term savings that you have. So this is sitting there. It's currently earning anywhere from about $15 to $17 in interest each month, and that will just continue to grow. That is to be used for emergencies only. And for us, we have determined an emergency to be anything that we are not able to cash flow with our regular monthly income. So any major expense that comes up for us that we're not able to plan for ahead of time, we consider an emergency, and therefore we would be able to tap into that account, take care of the emergency, and then we would have to immediately go back and prioritize our savings until we get that account back up to $15,000 minimum. Now, I mentioned that was our phase 1 goal. So our next goal is to actually get that account up to $30,000, and that's going to happen over the next couple years. We are going to just put a small amount of money in that account whenever possible. We are not currently saving to that account on any specific schedule. We don't have anything automated to that account. We will just use it, for example, if we end up getting a tax refund that's not expected, or if we happen to have any other small financial windfall that comes our way, we will take a nice chunk of that change and put it in that account and continue doing so until it reaches $30,000. And then we will consider our emergency fund complete. We will automate it in some way, and they will be our priority. We have a Christmas sinking fund, we have a birthday sinking fund, and that is to save for just our immediate family's birthdays, mostly just our children. My husband and I don't really do much for our birthdays, but it's more so to save for the kids' birthdays. Above and beyond our emergency fund, we do have specific sinking funds that we save to whenever possible. We try to save on a monthly basis, but again, we were focused on our emergency fund until recently, so we really missed saving for these funds most of 2020. Starting 2021, we will save in these funds every single month. We have a vacation sinking fund, and because of the pandemic, our vacation got canceled this year, and we ended up rerouting the money we had saved towards some other things that we wanted to do in our home. So we've kind of started from scratch here. Those are our main sinking funds. We also do have a bunch of other accounts that we save money in, but they are mostly for spending. So they pretty much turn over every paycheck. We use those instead of using our physical cash envelopes anymore. If you want any information on how we do that, I will leave the link down below. We learned it in a course that I took recently. It was a great course, and we have loved using this new method of spending and not having to worry about cash envelopes. But I do want to mention there are a couple of those spending categories that we kind of have the spending and the sinking fund lumped in together. Those two are our pet category and our car category. When we were using cash envelopes, we used to have those specific envelopes set up for vet care for our pets and for car maintenance. But now that we're keeping these categories in a bank account versus actual cash in our home, we've just lumped them together, and we contribute more money to those accounts now each paycheck, and now they both have multiple savings goals. For our car account, any money that gets deposited into that account is actually used for gas for our cars, any car maintenance that comes up. It's saving for our car registrations, and it's long-term savings for when we need a new car. We're just keeping everything car related in one account. And again, it's just to keep things more simple. I really don't want multiple car accounts. We do not touch that money unless it's absolutely needed for something. So it will just continue to grow over time. And the hope is that by the time my husband and or myself is in need of a new vehicle, there will be enough money in there to go ahead and buy a new to us car with cash. The other account I mentioned was our pet category. So just like we smushed everything together with the car account, we also smushed everything together with the pet account. And if you are a pet owner, you know how expensive our sweet, sweet pets can be. And we spend all that money on them because we love them so much. So our pet account includes any money we need for food, toys, accessories, vet appointments, medication, pet insurance, and pet sitters. So anytime we go away, we actually pay somebody to come and stay at our home so that we don't have to board our pets, and they also take care of the house, grab the mail, water the plants. All of our pets are high anxiety, so I really love just being able to keep them here in their home and not have to disrupt them quite as much by taking them to a kennel. We use any funds in that account for any of the above, and we will just continue to let that money accrue as much as possible over time, so anytime we need something, the money is there and we wouldn't have to touch our emergency fund. And the very last sinking account I want to tell you about wasn't mentioned before because it's kind of a rolling, changing account. We just use it to put money aside for anything that's coming up at the moment. Maybe it's not something that we need to save for the entire year, but something that we need to save for maybe just for a quarter or a couple months. And this is also an Ally online account for us, and in Ally and Capital One you're able to give your accounts nicknames. So I just change the name on this account every time we are finished with one specific savings goal, and then we move on to the next. So currently that account is titled Back to School, and we have just begun to save for any back to school expense. So again, if you saw my July budget video, then you know we have started saving for school. We don't know what school is going to look like yet in the fall, but we do know that we will have expenses regardless. Any money that is going into that school account is going to pay for any school supplies necessary, any clothing we need to get for our children. And also in the beginning of the year, we do usually have some miscellaneous fees. We have to pay for insurance for their Chromebooks. We have to pay sometimes for field trip fees or any other fees that come up. Once school is done and we spend that money, then I'll probably go ahead and change the name of that account to Halloween and start saving for Halloween things. And Halloween's not a lot of money, but I still like to just put it aside. Then when it comes and I have to buy all of the costumes and the candy and whatnot, then I'm not worried about having to come up with the money. I just have it sitting there and it's a non-issue. After Halloween's over, I will then go ahead and change the name of the account to whatever else we want to save for at that time. So I do love having this extra sinking fund. It's nice to just have a place to put extra money aside that's not commingled with anything else. There's no chance it would get spent by accident on anything else other than its intended purpose. So those are all of the ways and methods that we are currently saving and investing in our family. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you found this video helpful in some way. If you did, I would really appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, I hope you'll take a second and subscribe to my channel. I have new videos coming at you every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.